This is the Troubleshooting Podcast. I'm Craig Poston with my homie, Jay Peters. Today's topic is on follow a model. All right. Jay, so this was your topic. So you want to start it out?
Yeah, man. So, this kind of just came about, in IT, right? So, I work in IT. There's a few models, right? And especially as we troubleshoot problems, that's like one of our main staples, right? It's troubleshooting problems, right, for computers. And the model I typically follow is what's known as the OSI model, right, or the Open Systems Interconnect model. And what that does is it details layers of encapsulation and decapsulation of information, right? So starting from the bottom, right, if I'm troubleshooting a computer that's just having any problem, right, I look at the physical portion. Right? I see if it's turned on, if it has stuff plugged in. If that's good, then I look at the next data link layer, right? See if traffic is actually parsing through, right? If that's good, then I look at the network layer. Is something blocking it? Does it have an IP address, right? Keeping going, right? Until I find the true problem, or I can start breaking down the problem and fixing it at each layer, right? But in life, right, a lot of people just go throughout life and they don't have a model, or they don't follow a model to be successful in life. And that was just like the thing, or the topic I really wanted to talk about, because it's true, right? A lot of us, we just go through life, just going day by day, just taking it each day, showing up to work, doing your workouts, whatever it is, right? But there is no clear intention behind all that work you're doing. And there's no way for you to measure how you're going throughout life. So in the theme of troubleshooting life, right, trying to connect it to how we troubleshoot in IT is just what I wanted to talk about.
Okay. Yeah, so that's why I wanted to get your take on what was the topic, what was your thoughts of the topic? Because you did relate it to what we do, which, yes, we do have something to follow, but then how life is, as you said, there is no real model, right? Now, I think that's one reason why we have role models, or we have mentors. We try to find someone who's done this, walked on this path, or maybe documented the path as they walked on it. That's kind of how I see with actually following a model. It's like finding someone who is successful in your eyes. I would say that, because the definition of success is you got the cut and dry definition, but then you got the success definition in the eye of the beholder, right? Because everyone thinks of success differently, because every time I talk to different people, like their definition of success is definitely not my definition of success, so that's why I wanted to know what you were actually thinking on when you wrote this topic.
My apologies.
No, you're good.
So so to go into it, like you say, or you said that there may not be like a de facto definition of a model for success, right? So, but kind of going back to IT, right? The OSI model isn't the only model, right, out there, right, for information transferring, right? There's the TCP/IP model, right? And then there's even certain models that certain organizations come up for themselves. But in life, right, you do have different models, right? Granted, it's maybe not cut and dry and blueprinted as simple as like the OSI model, but there are models, right? So like you said, first you had to define your success, right? So if you want your success to be financial, right, then you probably look at the financial successors, right? Your Musks, your Bezos, right? Your Bill Gates, your Warren Buffett's, right? And each one of them, they have some sort of system to success, right? And then even different industries, they have different models, right? So how does a doctor perform surgery, right? They have a model, they have some sort of checklist they go through, right? How does a real estate agent make a sale or help someone purchase a house, right? They have a certain model or a certain technique to do that. And the thing is, like, and it really doesn't matter what your model is. It's just knowing to identify that model and working off that model is in my opinion the more important part. But really, how do you, I think even going back to it, how do you define success, right? Because there's different aspects of life that you can define, right? So if it's financial, that's a thing, right? If it's family, that's a measure of success, right? Having a good family, being a good father, right? If it's faith, right? Being high in faith or incredibly devoted to your religion, that's a measure of success, right? But most of us, the first thing we hear or we think of success is financial, right? And there are models for that, right? There are people that say they go to school, right? That is a measure or a checkbox in the financial success portion, right? But it's not everything, right? Elon Musk says it best, right? He said that don't get education and college twisted up, because he's never gone to Harvard, but the people that work for him do, right? So he followed a different model of success than they did, right? They had something else in mind than he did. But yeah, I mean, we could really break it down too. I mean, if you want to kind of go through your definition of success, or what a portion of your definition of success is, and then we could probably break it down into what systems that took place to get there.
Yeah, well, my definition of success, it would be money. Because I know you need money. I know money isn't everything, but money is in everything, right? So by your net worth, that to me describes a portion of someone's success. Education level, not necessarily being school, but the way that they attain education, able to apply education. That to me, that's someone's success. The way they treat their family, or with their family, or things that they attain that are around their family, that to me is a example of success. So those are usually my definitions of success. And then how well you grow, as a person. If you grew, because if you go off every 10 years of your life, you go off for every 10 years, you will see that you have became a new person. And that's something I saw growing up. Because when I was in my 20s, I had a certain mentality. When I was in my 30s, I had another mentality. And now I'm in my 40s. It's the beginning of them, but still my mindset is definitely focused more on family and wealth and health, I would say. And to me, making sure I get those aligned properly, to me, is my definition of success.
All right. So going into specifically the financial part, and you're talking about accumulating net worth, right? So for the broader portion, net worth would just mean that your assets outweigh your liabilities, right? And we've talked about it right before, is stuff like real estate, right? So that is a model, right? Getting into real estate or purchasing real estate assets to outweigh your liabilities throughout life. Talk to me about that, about what do you want to follow other than, of course, real estate, to achieve that level of success?
So say for real estate, that's why I do look at a lot of podcasts. I do read books. Well, I read books more on the wealth portion. I don't necessarily read as many books as I should on the real estate portion. So I kind of follow a lot of podcasts that deal with real estate, so I can start to get my mind wrapped around the lingo, understanding how should I approach a bank, how should I analyze a property. Again, these are models, exactly like you said. These are models that have been around probably for years, centuries, decades. They're just been improved over time. And again, how I see, as we follow a model, we've followed the path of someone else who actually documented and actually put it in play and able to distribute it to other people. And to me, that is like a big model, a great model. And that's how we build businesses also. You can't have a successful business without creating some type of model. One of the reasons why you have to have your policies, you got to have that standard what is that? Standard procedures of operations. Yeah. SOP. Yeah. Or I said it backwards, but yeah. But you have to have these things. If you don't, like you said, you kind of just like, it's like showing up to the gym and I don't know what I want to work out today. So I'm just going to start looking at machines. I'm just going to, oh, let me just pick this weight up. Okay. I don't like it. Let me go over here without an exact plan. Yeah. You're kind of just going to waste your time or fall to pieces. Depends on what it is. If it's a business, it will fall to pieces.
Yeah. So kind of going to the plan or model, right? What's the first part, right? Like for a house, right? It's a foundation, right? What is the foundation? So like going to the OSI model, the foundation is physical, right? The physical hardware, something has to exist for me to have something to troubleshoot or have something to measure against, right? If that doesn't exist, then that is the de facto problem, right? There is nothing there. But for foundation, let's go to health, right? What is the foundation for wanting to get healthier or to get into a better physical state?
Yeah, to me, that would be diet. We talk about this all the time. If you don't get your diet right, those heavy workouts that you do, those long and hard ones, it's pointless, right? So, like you said, this is the foundation. Foundation would be your diet, making sure you get that under control. Once you get your diet in control, then your workouts will be more efficient. You'll be more successful at achieving your goal of losing weight or reducing your blood pressure or whatever, increasing your cardiovascular muscles. To me, that's why that model, as you say, you're trying to build it up from the model. You would have to start from the bottom. What is the source of my energy? The source of my energy will be my diet. If I put the wrong thing in my body, then I'm already derailing myself. So that's the same as your foundation. If you don't have a good foundation, if you don't understand that foundation first, then you could be derailing your whole plans.
So, but what would you say? Because I mean, I've done it before, right? What would you say to people that don't start with the foundation, right? Where they do start with the working out because that's what they see, right? Yeah. What would you tell that person? And you may or may not have gone through it, but what would you like impart onto that person?
I mean, if we revert back to how it was in the military, we have to tell people this all the time. I mean, we're probably a little bit more direct in the military, and we say, hey, you probably can't eat that. You might want to get those snacks off your desk because that's the wrong thing for you. So you're a little bit more direct in the military. But if you would tell people, yes, you need to start with your diet, or we're gonna do what we have to do because I'm Army, and Army is going to work the heck out of you. So we can't stop you from putting whatever it is in your mouth. Oh, guess what? We got to run for you. That's usually how we handle that. But which is wrong because you have to solve the problem, and usually it's hard to solve the problem if someone's mentality is not in the place of wanting to lose weight.
So I kind of want to go back to it. Is that, like, in my opinion, the true foundation? Well, it could be diet, it could be getting assets, whatever it is the mentality portion, right? Because if they don't have the desire or the want or need to do something, whether that is to build a net worth, right, or have a good physical body, then that would be, anything else would be almost moot, right? That it wouldn't even matter, right? Because you could tell them every day that they need to do diet, they need to have a better nutrition plan, whatever it is, they need to work out such and such. But if their mentality isn't in the right place, and if they're not intentional about those actions, then it's not going to amount to much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So because I got a question for you. How should people go about creating a model for themselves or others to follow? Because that was something I was thinking about, and it probably comes down to that same thing we were saying about, like, the SOP of a company, So what do you think about that?
So my apologies. But the question was, how would I create a model for either myself or someone else? Right. Yeah. So honestly, this is, 2022, right? I'm not trying to invent the wheel or reinvent the wheel, right? So I kind of pick and choose models from different people, right? And the reason why I talk to you and a few of our other coworkers, right, about your family and stuff, is because at some point I will have a family and I want to be a good father, right? While we're also in this, dynamic of, having to work however many hours, like doing that work-life balance or life-work balance, right? So I pull from others for that. But first I had to define what that success was, right? So of course, finances and having assets, whether that's real estate or not, was very important. So I found stuff, we live in the information era. I found stuff like the Bigger Pockets podcast. I found a few like real estate moguls. I did like YouTuber. There were a few other things. So each one of them had different models, and I just kind of put them together for my own specific model. For fatherhood, I look, like I said, to you all, because you guys are in a relatable situation that we have work, right? We work in the same industry / somewhat schedule. And it's important to me in my future that I can balance that out. Because I don't want to, just be work. And then, my family kind of just tears down, or my work-life balance kind of just tears away. But there's also, lessons to learn in that too, right? But going back to it, for me, I just look for what I define as success, and I pull pieces from other people's model, right? So earlier we were talking about real estate. There is what's known as the 2% or 1% rule, meaning that if I purchase a property, right, that 1% or 1 to 2% of that purchase price, right, or total out-of-pocket price would need to be my rent, right? That is like the minimum I need to have as monthly rent, right, to get a good return on investment for that property. So I definitely took that model, right? I took the 1 to 2% when I'm looking at it, and that model doesn't always work, right? So you kind of have to adjust, right? So if you notice that in your market that the 1 to 2% doesn't work, then you have to kind of figure out ways to make it work, right? What other things can you charge for other than rent, right? So can you charge for someone to come by and do the lawns, right? Can you charge for utilities, right? For stuff like that. So there's things you got to move around, because not every model is, binary or black and white, right? It's not very cut and dry as it needs to be. But yeah, I would say look to others, right? First, or first and foremost, define what you want to succeed in, or what you want your success to be in, and then look to people that have already had those successes. I've never really been great at original ideas, right, or original models. But since there's so many blueprints, right? And if you go back to working out or nutrition, right, you'll see celebrities' nutrition plans like everywhere, right? If you want to look like The Rock, that's his nutrition plan, right? But you also have to understand that just because that model works for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you, right? So I'm not going to expect to look like The Rock if I'm just going to follow just his nutrition plan, right? Because it's not just his nutrition plan that goes into who The Rock is, right? It's his nutrition, it's his workouts, it's his circadian rhythm, the way he, or when he goes to sleep, when he wakes up, right? And however he balances all that out, that's what builds, The Rock's persona.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of how I see it too. It's like you kind of have to grab from each place nowadays, because having a set model is a little hard, only because time has changed. Things are different. And as things keep increasing, technology gets better. To have someone follow a direct plan may slow their progress, versus having more of an open mind and looking around. And so that would come to listen to the podcast, reading books, talking to your peers, anybody that you might see as a mentor, and those things I think can contribute to building your own model. Because in the end, you say that you didn't create it. Yeah, you may not have created the actual beginning of it, but you compiled something and you made something new, which that's what they say anyway. They say kind of like that's what we do in society. It's kind of like we regurgitate everything and turn it into something else. Because if you talk to your parents, or I talk to my parents, they're gonna say that, oh no, that was back when I was a kid, that was that. All they did was just remake it and put a new brand on it, and now it's this. I'm like, I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense, and that's probably why it was successful. It's because they did it. They used someone else's model, put a new spin on it, and now they have this new product.
Yeah, and going back to products, you'll see that all the time. Like you'll see products of a similar shape, form, or purpose, right? But just added on to it, or it just got elevated, right? So yeah, so going back to it, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to reinvent a model, but you should tailor it to you, to your level of success, and to what you're willing to do to get to that certain part in life.
Yeah. So I guess this is a question because I wrote a few questions. So yeah, with the internet age, that to me that gives everybody that chance to be whoever they want to be, right? Oh, what do you? I mean, I guess it still goes along to the fact that we were just saying is back to compiling. So because my question was going to go back to is kind of like that, since internet is around now, everyone can find their own role model. They can find whoever they want to be, right? And emulate that person. So that was one of the things that I think I don't know if I read it in a book or something like that. Basically what they said is find someone you want. So if it's Jeff Bezos, if it's Elon Musk, whoever it is, right? And you kind of just look at their biography, their history, see what they did. I think I even looked at Jerry Jones just to see how he started out, right? Yeah. And I was like, they all kind of have a little bit of something similar. All of them were risk takers, right? Even if they started from the beginning. It was other ones that I also, I think, I was reading a book. I was reading a book about Colonel Sanders, for Kentucky Fried Chicken. Yeah. Like, so it basically, like, he didn't get his success until he was older, and his I think he sold Kentucky Fried Chicken, and that's how he got his wealth. But it took off, without him, obviously. But this is what I, learned, that it basically, if you take a person that you really want to emulate, look at their, biography, look at their successes, look at their failures. That right there would tell you the type of person that they are. And that's how you kind of want to, because you don't want to know all their very personal details, the bad person who they are, because that's the problem. People get so caught up in this popularity. They're a bad person. No, look at that. Look at their failures and successes as a business person. Yeah. And then you take that and build a model off of that and start your own business, start your own thing. And that's, I know this was supposed to be a question. They ended up turning into something more of a statement. Yeah. But yeah. What do you think about that? Yeah.
No, I fully agree with that. Right. Of course, following someone to emulate. Right. And like you said, in this interconnected world, right, anyone from even across the world could, I guess, potentially see others and see other people who they feel are successful and get ideas from them. Right. And I don't think we're stuck in the little town or the city that we grew up in on learning information and providing information. Kind of going back to what you said, people also define success, but they put emotions to it, right? But with a model, there are no emotions to it, right? It's facts, right? It is pure facts, right? Or maybe opinions, but emotion, either way, is cut out of it. It's step by step on what you should do, whether you feel good or when you don't feel good, right? So like going to the OSI model, right? They're computers. They don't have emotions to it. And so why would I put emotion to anything else in a model, right? If I want to look better, of course, that was started, or the catalyst was an emotion, but the actions that I take don't have to have emotion attached to it, because when you have emotion attached to it, it is what it is, right? When you feel good, you work out. When you don't, you don't work out, right? But that's not what the model says. The model says that you will stay consistent 5 days a week, get up in the morning, work out, right? knock out a few push-ups, whatever it is, right? Same with nutrition, right? If the food doesn't have like emotions, right? Or you shouldn't be emotionally tied to that food, right? You eat it because it is for your nutrition, for your energy, for you to live. It's not this end all be all meal that you have to always have. But yeah, man.
Yeah. No, people, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just, I know being from the South, that's something that's pretty normal. We use food as comfort. We come together as friends, family, or whatever, and we're cooking, we're drinking. We kind of do these comfort things. And you're right. That was something I kind of had to, I didn't want to strip it completely because I still enjoy going home, to Mississippi. That's where I'm from. And, but some of those I had to dump it because it will hinder my successes of being fit, especially while being in the military. When I was active duty, definitely I didn't want anything to come between me and my runs because it's bad enough on Monday. You got a whole weekend where you've probably been drinking or whatever, and then you got Monday morning, you got to run, and you're dragging, So that just kind of building off of that, what you said about those comforts, that definitely something that we have to be mindful of. If we're not, then it will creep up and we'll have habits that we don't appreciate. We might not know that we don't appreciate it, but we don't appreciate it because it's actually hindering us in another area. So let's see what else I had on here. So if obviously we use the internet as an example, right? What are other examples if people don't have access to people or around people who are successful, people who are great models? What do you think people should do?
Pay for it. And what I mean by that, right, is that there are I'm not saying just monetarily pay for it, but because you can always pay in time and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is like get into a circle that has a like mind to you, right? So if you have to go to a networking type event, right? If you have to pay to be in an alumni type of society or some sort of group, right? Just pay for it, right? Try to, if you can't find it in your current surroundings, either pay for it or move towards it some way, right? Because like you, right, you moved out of your state and town, right, when you came here to Texas and to Dallas, right? And I'm not saying that you didn't have the circle of influence you wanted in Mississippi, but other people, while they recognize it, they're not willing to go towards a circle of influence or a better circle of influence, right? Whether that's to pay for it, go move somewhere to it, or just take the time to build it. And the internet is great and everything, but there was a time before internet, right? And there were successful people before the internet. Exactly. So while the internet makes it easier, in my opinion, and makes it easier for the masses, there are other alternatives than just internet.
Yeah, no, that's right, because you brought to my attention of how you said it by saying I went to a specific place. I left my comforts to go do something else, right? And in that process, I learned how to talk to people. I think about it. I had to walk into a circle of people I don't even know. Like I started a job. Like I think I was being a server. And to me, that was actually a fun job. And I think it's because I got a chance to meet so many people. You meet people that you work with. You meet people that's passing through. You meet people that are your regular customers. You meet. That was the fun thing about meeting people. And like you said, because there were we had internet, right? This is probably 15 years ago, right? Yeah, I had internet, but internet didn't put all the information that you need. Like now, people are willing to share everything, right? But I think you need to be able to walk up to somebody, shake their hand, have a good conversation with them. You know, be able to, I think that what I guess I'm trying to say is have those people skills, right? Those people skills that can help you build your model. And you need to, because it's great, you know, we got the internet, but not everybody is gaining all the skills that they need when they're on the internet. And it'll make you
still like those interpersonal relationships that they can build face to face.
Yeah. So that's how I see, and that's basically what I did back then when I took off. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't that I didn't have good friends. I just didn't have the friends that were doing the things that I wanted to do, you know. And then I also wanted to be in an area where there were more people, and I can just be free to, hey, let me go here. I'm going, you know, because I was in my 20s, so it's still about drinking and still having fun, right? But in the process, I was trying to get an engineering job. But I knew, I was like, well, I have to put myself out there. My first interview was to fly to Wichita, Kansas. That was my first interview. And still, all of that is still all tied, you know, like I had to do something not normal. Most people go to an interview within their area. No, I actually went to a job fair in Dallas while I was still living in Mississippi. I drove there, went to a job fair. And this person, I guess they wanted to give me a chance. And, you know, I didn't think my resume was awesome, but they gave me a chance. Right. And I went to the interview I went back home, and then they flew me out, got me a hotel, rental car, all that to do this interview. But if I hadn't taken a chance by doing something that not the everyday person would do, it is like I wouldn't at least got a chance to have that interview. And that interview actually can help build your skills of meeting other people, you know, understanding, okay, well, I made mistakes in this interview. I won't make those same mistakes in this interview, you know, the next interview. So like, again, it's all learning and a good way to build your model, right?
Yeah. And so going back to building a model, well, while you and I stated we can emulate other people, right? We focus on people that are in a place or going towards a place that we want to be, right? Not necessarily a physical place, but, you know, a place financially, a place emotionally, in faith, whatever it is, right? But and like you said, right, you had friends, and it's not like they weren't good people, right? But you recognize that they weren't heading to the same place that you were, right? So you wanted that, but you wanted to surround yourself with those other people or any environment that would then boost your level of success or your growth or grow your model in general.
Yeah, no, that was definitely spot on what I was trying to achieve. And there was times, I missed home, but I kept myself so busy. It was kind of crazy. I didn't realize how much I missed home until I stopped working 2 jobs and hanging out. And, you know, like I was constantly busy. I actually, at the time, my wife, I don't think we were quite dating yet. Well, I think we met and started dating, and her friends thought that she was pretending that she had a boyfriend because
you're so busy.
I was so busy. I was never around.
Yeah,
because I was working. One job was full time, and the other job was like kind of, you know, like it was maybe 30 hours or so. Like, I mean, I didn't have kids, and technically that is single. You're not married. So I was trying to do whatever I could to make sure I was producing enough of my lifestyle, because I didn't want to just be this broke college student. I wanted to have enough money. And then I also was trying to go back to school because I wanted to achieve a second bachelor's. And that's all of that still, played in me being a very busy person,
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that because, but even for me, like in high school and stuff, I was always a busy person, right? So I didn't necessarily have 2 jobs, but even starting from like my sophomore year of high school to senior year, I always had a job. I was always employed. And then one of my most busiest times / I think one of my most influential / for growth in many aspects of my life, is that I had a internship or like an unpaid internship, but over at BAMC, right? I worked in their biomedical maintenance area while I was also working full time, and I did that. But I treated that also like a full time job, right? I would show up because my dad worked at BAMC, right? I would show up when he would show up. I would leave when he left, and then I would go straight to work right afterwards, right? And then I would just do that throughout the entire week, and then of course still working on the weekends. But yeah, no, I was just so busy, right? And at that time I didn't have a girlfriend or anything, so I wasn't focused on anything except for getting that stuff done. But yeah, I didn't feel like that. That entire summer felt like it just flew by, right? Just because I was just kept working.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that you have to pull yourself back once you've achieved what you wanted to achieve, kind of pull yourself back a little bit, because you want to not be so single focused. That was I think that was my problem a lot. I would get so single focused on something that I would miss everything around me. Like I said before, me being in the career that I am now, I probably could have done this 15 years ago, probably 13 to 15 years ago. I probably could have did the same career, but I was so bullheaded, and I was like, no, I'm going to do this. I came here for a reason. Like I came to Dallas for a reason, and I'm going to achieve it. And that's basically, I think I was shutting things out when I should have been more flexible and like open to seeing things. Kind of like how they would tell us at some of my units, they'll just tell us, keep your head on a swivel, because they don't know when information is coming down. So they like say, keep your head on a swivel. And then that's basically how I should have been with opportunity. Just like, hey, no, and don't just like keep single focus. Now look around you. There is something for you. Again, how we would do with the models, there's somebody's model that you can follow, or you can compile them all, create this new model, because as time goes on, unless that model is so basic that it can't change with time, kind of like the fundamentals of basketball. They can't change with time, because these are the fundamentals. This is what you learn to get started. So
yeah. And then going back to being single focused, right? That's what a circle of influence will really help you with, right? Because when I say circle of influence, I don't mean like yes people or yes men. Right? They're not just going to keep, confirming or affirming what you're doing, right? They will show you or tell you like how to adjust, right? Or when to adjust, right? When they see that you're maybe too focused in one area, they're like, well, look at it at a different perspective, right? Or they'll do that. They'll add additional perspectives to what you're focused on, and it'll get your mind to think more, right?
Yeah. So let's see, what else for following models? What could be a good thing about following models? Because I know you use the OSI model, you use the
it takes the guesswork out of it. In my opinion, right? If I follow a model, right, it's less willpower that I have to take out of my day to figure it out, right? Okay. So like a lot of successful people, like I think Zuckerberg or even Jobs, right? They are people that wear the same stuff every day, right, for the rest of their life, because that's less decision making that they have to do, right? When you follow a model, it's not necessarily out of your hands, but it's less off of your mind that you have to think about, right? So I no longer think about what I'm going to do for a workout, because I already know. It's like it's in my phone. It's detailed in there what to do, right? I don't have to be like, oh, what should I do right now while I'm already in the gym and it's taking up my time, right? But yeah, it just helps take away the willpower, take away the failure, or maybe the human failure of it, right? Of not being consistent with it, or just being too lackadaisical with your routine.
Yeah, no, I could say, I definitely see that, but using less of your brain power, and you can focus more. And also, if you have a model, the troubleshooting, either when something comes out of the blue, you can kind of use your base, but then you can also use your critical thinking skills at the same time to help solve the problem, because there is a base there, it has to be somewhere around this area. But okay, maybe to the left or to the right a little bit, but you can use your critical thinking to help pull you back in to make sure you stay focused. That's kind of how I see it when you said it that way.
No, yeah, no, great perspective on it, because like you said, if I'm following a model, it doesn't matter what's happening, right? I know where to start and where to look, right? So going back to the OSI, right, we start physical, right? If something is physically wrong with it, then that is a critical problem, right? But if it's not physical, then you know where to continue, right? You know where to search right after that, right? You can look at a switch, you can look at configurations, you can look at settings in the computer, right? Whatever that is, you at least know where to look, right? If you don't have a model and you're just going willy-nilly, you're going to find things, but they may not even be the problem, right? That may not be the problem that you're having, right? So like say you take your car in to get some work done, and then they point something out to you, right? But that was never actually the problem. It was something else, right? Like, and you as a car guy, you may have experienced that, working on cars and stuff.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, car wise, yes, there will always be something wrong unless someone keeps that car in this pristine condition where they're always doing the maintenance. Yeah, it's always going to be something else. But like you said, it could be non-fatal or not the issue in hand. Because okay, so say windshield wipers, right? You can tell windshield wipers are bad. Yes, windshield wipers are good for safety, but they're not a function of the motor, right?
Right.
So like your issue right now is okay, your car is kind of shaky, So
your windshield wipers.
Windshield wipers is a problem, yes, but it's not the main problem. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But I think that's what happens, right? When you don't have a model, right? You just see a problem, but you don't know how to diagnose it. You don't know how to pull back the layers and figure out what is actually the true problem or what is causing that problem. So I think following the model would just make it easier for that, whether that's in your professional life or your personal life, right?
Yeah. That's definitely a good example. Just me with following models. I kind of, like I said, use it as the base, kind of like what we're saying. But then we were talking about this at one point about still having somewhat of a journey in your life, because you kind of veer away, right? It's like, oh, I'm way over here, and then I'm back over here. And following a model can help with the straight path. If it's something that has been proven to work time and time again, no matter how the decades or the centuries change, right? So it could that is leads to your success a lot quicker, which a lot of people want, right? But then it does take away some of the experiences in life, the failures, but which, not to say you're not going to have any failures, because how a person perceives a certain model, it may be different from the other person or the intent of the person who created the model. But those experiences of bouncing around, I think, sometimes build a person. So, and I know I've heard people do their podcasts. They're very against bouncing around, getting the journey in life. They get kind of more want to be, hey, let's hit the path, let's get to where we're going, and you can build from there. But without having some of those experiences, you don't know how to handle regular life along with your business success or your family success or anything else. So yeah, what do you think about that one?
So going to the path and stuff, right? I've never driven on a road where there wasn't a crack or there wasn't a pothole, right? Like you said, the path is there, but you may not always know what happens on that path. And things may happen, right? Throughout life, throughout time, right? Just things happen, right? So just like when you drive your car to work, right, that you have a set direction, set path, but guess what? Accidents happen, right? People fall off the road. Things happen, right? And that happens in life as well, right? But your model tells you that even this is going to happen, I already know how to get around it, right? There's a detour, right, to get around it, or it's just going to take more time, right? But that's how to deal with it. And like I said, taking the emotion out of it, if you already know that happens, then you your mind won't keep racing to try to figure out why is this happening, right? You already know what's happening, or you know how to deal with what is happening. And guess what? Maybe you're the one that's going to be in the accident, right? Maybe it's going to happen to you, but guess what? You have insurance, right? And as long as nothing fatal happens, the car can be fixed, the car can be replaced, right? So having the model, like, you're just having more things that kind of give you that buffer to not lose control of getting to your destination within that set path.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like the, the example you use with using a road, because that is a proven path, right? Because it was created to reach a certain destination. But in the process of getting to that destination, because of time that is involved, decades, years, whatever, right? Potholes form, like you said, cracks form, and if somebody else could, I guess the accident would actually be your what do you call it? I won't say your problems, but the adversaries or the different issues that you're gonna run into with life. Yeah, so that would be your accident. Yeah, accident would be those things that you learn how to adapt to as you reach your destination.
And it's the things that you can't control, right? Because you can't control all the accidents that happen on the road, or you can't control the weather that happens, right? But because you have a set model, right, or a set destination and path in front of you, right, that doesn't matter, right? You're still going to be able to get to that place, right? Like I said, it may take you longer in time, right? You may have to take, a path or a roundabout path, right, to get around that specific instance or event, right? But you still get back to your path. You still try to get to your destination.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good example. I'm not sure if you want to end it or keep it going. You let me know. Because I think we've definitely hit at least 45 minutes, I think.
Yeah, probably. No, I think I got nothing much else for it.
No,
you can carry me, man.
No, this turned out good. Because I didn't know where you were coming from on the follow a model, and now that it actually turned out to be pretty good. I like this.
I appreciate it. But
that's the whole thing about our podcast, is to show like the perspective of different generations here. You know what I'm saying? We work together, and we're all mixed up, different generations, different ages, and where we work. And this podcast is one of those things. It's kind of like, as we said, trying to bridge that gap. We want different opinions. We want different ideas. If we don't, how will we grow?
Right.
Like I every day I learn from you, just like you may be learning from me. So like as you said, you talk about ask about family issues or different things because you want a family in the future. And yes, and when it becomes time for you to have your family, things may be different. Where like some of the things I tell you might not even because of time, as we said about the path, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate the growth aspect of it, personally, professionally. But yeah, man, that is the intent. So to grow people.
Yeah. No. Hopefully our audience, enjoyed this and understand where we're coming from, because my thing is, I learn from anyone, and that's my thing. I will learn from anyone. I will only take what I need. I've learned that in life. Only take what you need, because you don't want bad information. You don't want someone else's bad lifestyle, because you're not going to take family advice from a person who's like a gambler, who's always out, never can afford to take care of their family needs. Never around to support your wife when needed. Out with
That's true, man. Because even so, going back to the military, right? You'll see those E7s or E7 and aboves, right? They're always at work, always doing stuff, right? But they're never spending time with their family, right? And then you don't actually have to wonder why they're divorced however many times, right? Or they're so estranged from their children, right? Because their focus was not to be with a family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their focus was the military / the job. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but now you or that person has affected generations of people, right? Because of the divorce, because of having a strange relationship with your family, right? They fell off the true focus or the overall focus of that path.
And that's the thing. You still can't say that person isn't successful, because they may be successful at their job. They're just not successful at their family. You know, they may be successful at their wealth, but again, they're not successful for their family, right?
Right.
They take care of their family, because that is one of the things that's required by, being in the military, active duty. Right. That's one thing they don't play about. You take care of your family, but they don't tell you that you have to stay at home, because the number one priority is the military. Excuse me, the military. And that's why some people decided, just like how I kind of decided, maybe I should cut it short, because it will require more energy than I'm actually giving to my family. That's something I noticed. Yeah. But okay. All right. Well,
yeah, man. You want me to close it out? You got to close
it out?
You
could. You close it out, man. Go ahead.
All right, I just want to say to anyone that's in the audience, appreciate your time. Same with you, Craig. Appreciate your time. Always great conversations with you. Yeah, man. And this was Troubleshooting Live. See y'all next week.
All right. See you.